Joining us now is a man who is about to officially go into the Hall of Fame. And that's not just something you fall to, obviously. To get that opportunity to put on the jacket and give the speech in Canton, what you have to do is be better than everybody else that has ever done what you do better than everyone else. This man was put in situations by defenses in the NFL that no other wide receiver had seen before that or has seen since then. He retired, obviously, to take over the world with his big-ass brain. Ladies and gentlemen, Hall of Famer, greatest wide receiver of Mount Rushmore of greatest wide receivers of all time, because I don't want to piss him off or anybody else off that is up in that very elite level. Ladies and gentlemen, Calvin Johnson.
Yeah!
What's up, man?
What's good, man? How you doing? Thanks for having me.
No, thank you for joining us. I see your shirt there. I was just reading about Primitive, by the way. I love vitamins. You're doing great work, Calvin. I love what you're up to over there, man. How is life? How is retirement? Primitive, this seems like something that almost is like your life's work, or you feel like you're drawn to it, connected to it. Am I reading it accurately?
You're right. You're exactly right, man. It's really, since football, this is what's consumed me. Obviously, I've been married. I have 3 boys now, so that's taken a lot of time, too, with that business. And I try to squeeze in a little golf there.
Are you sick at golf? You're a good golfer, yeah?
Nah, I'm sick of watching myself play.
Let's talk about your football. And AJ Hawk here, I know he has a bunch of questions, is excited to chat with you, as are the boys. You're a living legend. There's a picture that trended around the internet a couple weeks ago, and it was, I think you were on a punt. I think it looked like you were potentially, a gunner for a punt team. And now, I don't know why you guys would be punting on the 1-yard line or anything like that, but Calvin, was this normal? You get out there on the punt team, or when did this start happening to you in the NFL?
Man, I haven't seen the punt team since high school. But no, yeah, I mean, when I get down there in the red zone, I'll often have somebody outside, somebody inside, somebody on top. But yeah, they went all out and just put two gunners out there.
I mean, I know firsthand, Calvin. I played against you for multiple years. We had to adjust defenses. Obviously, always have someone over the top on you, and it's still impossible to stop you. Is that something, I guess, that you just got used to at a young age, and it just continued through your NFL career?
Yeah, it just really just when I got to the league, I guess in college too, but you just get used to somebody being over top. You just got to figure out a way to make plays and still be explosive.
I was talking to Roman Reigns, the head of the table, and I happened to be on the West Virginia team. Now, I rode coattails on that team, but I happened to be on that West Virginia team, and you had the same reaction, by the way, as the head of the table. But kind of watching you at Georgia Tech and then go into the NFL and kind of take over, but you're always super humble. It was awesome to watch. And then when you retire out of nowhere, and I'm going to get right to it, I honestly believe that the reason why, and we have a diehard Detroit Lions fan here in the building. I don't know how many shows have Lions fans in here. Evan Fox is his name. He'll be pumped to talk to you in a second, though. Do you think that there is a curse on the Lions because of the exit that you had with them and also the exit that Barry had with them? And how do we move past that? Is that going to be a part of the jacket being put on maybe this weekend, that curse goes away?
Well, I'm not going to say anything about curses, but it's definitely bad vibes there for sure. It's bad energy there when you do that. Yeah, for 100%. You got your best players there, and if they're not on good terms with the team, of course, that's bad energy.
Has MCDC, Motor City Dane Campbell, I know you want to practice and things like that. Has he tried to mend those fences? And sometimes you can obviously get along with some parts of the building, but the old wounds are going to take a long time. Is that where we're at, you think?
I got love for DC. Played with him, saw the man that he is when he played with, just one arm back in the day. I think, that was my first 2 years there in Detroit. But, I've had good conversations. I actually saw Dan over at the stadium earlier this offseason. Him and the GM had good conversations. So for me, yeah, it is more so, like you say, it's two different parts. It's administration and you got the team, the players, I love the players. I want to love on the players. I give, pour into them anything I got, so, and I've been able to do that still.
That's awesome.
Calvin, it sounds very similar to like what we heard about the Aaron Rodgers situation. Like it built up over time, and he loves his players, coaches, and everything. But the front office is a different story. Was this something? I guess like what was the communication like with the front office when you were there playing, or did this all of a sudden like pop up?
Oh no! I mean, communication with the front office between me, that was minimal. There wasn't really. I mean, I might have saw Mr. Ford every now and then in the training room when I'm there early, just getting some treatment and stuff, but minimal conversation there. So yeah. Even now, I mean, I've had some conversation with Sheila, but it's more so just really around the Hall of Fame.
Now you're so humble, but like, it's Calvin Johnson. Like, what are we? You know, like that is kind of my big thing, especially when it came to the Aaron Rodgers situation. And I think I'm very fortunate that I got to ride the coattails and kind of look at locker rooms in the NFL from a different perspective. There's like some people that just kind of set the tone everywhere they are. You were one of those people, not just in the league, obviously, but definitely in Detroit. Now Matthew Stafford is in Los Angeles, and do you still keep in touch with Matthew Stafford? And we are just because we have Evan Fox, who's a massive Lions fan, I've gotten a chance to watch the Lions a lot, and I think the world is about to realize, like, oh, this dude's really, really fucking good, Matthew Stafford. Are you excited for him, and have you talked to him about what the Rams are going to look like with 9 under helm?
I'm just excited for him just because I knew he spent a lot of time in California, so I know he's at peace. Even though Cali's not his home, but he did spend time there. I know he loves it there, so I look forward to seeing him. He's obviously in a comfortable situation. Not that he wasn't comfortable in Detroit, but I mean, dang, you're in L.A., man, playing football.
Hey, there's a lot of old players getting back into shape, getting back in the game. You're going to go into the hall, then grab some primitive, and then get back out there, maybe tight end or a different position? What are we thinking?
All these teams popping up in California, you never know.
Do you stay in shape? I assume you still work out, but do you do anything football related still? Run routes or anything like that? Beat the hell out of your feet?
Man, you got my knees and ankles hurting right now. I do my camps. I just do my camps with my foundation. I really feel like I played a game after I'm just doing some instructions for the kids at my camps. So I'm not trying to get back out there. I just enjoy chilling. I snowboard now, so I mean that's the most physical activity you're gonna get out of me is like just that and a 20-minute cardio workout that I do.
Bro, you're shredding pow out there, dude. I didn't know. Go ahead, Ty.
I love it. Yes. Calvin, out in Park City.
Okay, all right.
Calvin, I read on your Wikipedia, I don't know how true this is, that you were a standout baseball player too and that you wanted to play baseball at Georgia Tech, but your mom didn't want you to play 2 sports. Was football always what you were going to do? And at what point did you realize, like, oh, I'm fucking different out here?
No, baseball my first love. Ken Griffey was my first favorite athlete out there. Until high school when football started to catch on, that's when baseball started to get boring. Standing out there in center field, chasing down balls. That was, second, to football for sure.
Hey, Calvin, so you were a lefty? You were a lefty or righty?
I was a righty.
Have you played any, I played, obviously, 1 game professionally, on-base percentage 333, don't worry about it. Have you gotten back out there at all? Any of these minor league teams or anything like that?
I haven't. The last time I was on the diamond was I took batting practice at I'm about to say Ford Field at Comerica. 5, 6 years, 7 years ago now. I actually hit like 1 or 2 out. I pulled them out the park.
Oh, you still got it, man. Still got it.
I hit one off the wall in center, but that wall is like 420 though. So.
Hey, 420, I see what you did there, Primitive. Shout out, Primitive there going, you know what I mean? Go ahead, Connor.
Yeah, Calvin, you said after you retired, your knees and ankles, you were kind of done, but did any quarterbacks or any teams reach out like, hey, what can we do to get you back on the field?
And when did those calls stop?
I just had conversations, random conversations, but I think it stopped really when they knew that the Lions weren't going to let go of my rights there. So.
How long was that? Was that multiple off seasons, or was that just
one?
It
was probably like just 2-3 years, and I never really. I don't think I ever came out and said I was interested in coming back. That still stands.
Isn't it crazy though? Because I retired young. I probably could have gone a couple more years. Much different world though than you. Whenever somebody that has the capability of a Calvin Johnson decides to step away, and then obviously now we hear that it was a little bit of a differing of how things should be run, or maybe respect level there. The fan in us who got a chance to watch you line up against punt coverages basically go, oh, we missed out on it. Is there any moments through this entire time, maybe there in the first couple of years, where you watched the game, or were you able to watch games still, or were you at peace with the game? Did any of those situations happen?
No, I was at peace. I think my first year out of the game, I was done with football. I was tired of football. I didn't even want to watch football. I think like my second year out, my third year, then I really became a fan again. I really got back into watching the game, really trying to tune into the guys that I knew that I played with, and that I trained with. But for me, I mean, I knew I was done after my 8th year. You know, it could have been, if we were winning Super Bowls, I might have wanted to come back. But we weren't at that point. We were really at a rebuilding point. And for me, I couldn't really like I said, I didn't have the juice, but I couldn't get any push out of my ankles and my knees. I just didn't have that get up and go. And it got harder and harder to do the training routine that I used to do in the off season. So I was just like, hey, I just can't keep putting myself through that. It's not fun anymore.
Are you okay with people being compared to you now all the time? Because, like, for instance, last year there was quite a situation. What was that, DK Metcalf?
Yep.
DK Metcalf was like, hey, you got a little Calvin Johnson in you maybe. And DK was like, I'm just trying to beat DK, which, by the way, I can understand where DK is coming from in that particular standpoint, but it's still Calvin fucking Johnson. So it's like one of those, it's a compliment. Were you comfortable with that when that started happening? Because, like Julio, for instance, Julio's available. Like, it hasn't been since Calvin that there's been a guy this size that can do all these things. And do you give back to the younger players? Do they call and ask for any help or anything?
That's cool, man. As you mentioned that, I've spoken to both of those guys. I had talked to DK right after that incident. He just hit me up like, man, no disrespect. I just want, I was like, dude, that's how you're supposed to think, man. You do you. You be the best version of yourself. The best version of yourself is not Calvin Johnson. It's not Megatron. It's DK. And then for, Julio, I had the chance to go to the Falcons before, like a year or two ago, before while he was still there, take my son over there for his birthday one time. And, good human being. Had a great time just sitting there chatting with the whole the Falcons team, actually. DQ had me up in front of the team, so that was a good experience. But, both of those guys, I love it. It's an honor to be in that position to have guys compared to you.
We're going into like a wide receiver era right now. These young guys are doing more in the offseason, it seems like, with cones and foot drills and making plays. It seems like a lot of the younger coaches are like, with the way college offenses are now, with it being more wide open, with the skill set being more fine-tuned, that there's going to be more and more and more wide receivers that are going to be explosive playmakers at a younger age. What are your thoughts on that? And was there anything at the end of your career that you were much better at than you were at the younger part of your career?
Yeah, I mean, cone drills, ladder drills are great, but it depends how you're doing that. It's like, I like to say, you're practicing with purpose, or, I think as the Denzel quote, you're practicing BS, you're only going to get BS, So for me, it's like, what are you doing? What kind of applications are you putting into those cones? Or what kind of applications are you doing with those ladder drills? Are you trying to, put the top of your route into it? When I say like the last 3 steps of your route, you only get 3 steps to break down at the top of your route. So are you taking those applications and putting them into your training? So that then, like I say, it just becomes muscle memory. So that when you're in those situations in game time, it's transferable. Your training transfers to the field because you've done it so many times.
Hey, going back, I know you played for multiple coaches in Detroit. You went from Rod Marinelli to Jim Schwartz at one time, and I know both very colorful characters, seem to have great personalities. What was that like, especially them being defensive-minded guys?
It was interesting because it was almost like total opposite ends of the spectrum. Marinelli, veteran, just really like, OG. He gonna tell you when he dislikes something, but he's not the one of the rah yelling type of guys. He's more the sort of type that will, hit you with the father type stuff to make you feel guilty for when you mess up something. And then Jim Schwartz, on the other hand, he'll let you hear it. But I think that one thing about both of those guys, they're really keen on building a tough team. And I think that's one thing that we were able to build. I mean, obviously we went 0-16 with Marinelli. He got, he went away after that. But, I think the theme was there in Detroit was to build a tough team that, nobody wants to come and play, even though we weren't the greatest ever. But, we want to be respectable. And I think that's one thing that they try to push.
So you were there for the 0-16 year. I was on a couple of teams that were very bad here. We almost went 0-16. We went 2-14 or whatever, and that was just That was tough, but we were in like 6 to 7 games more we could have won, or like 1-score games where we got lucky. How did you, that was a massive part of it, huh? Was the just being able to mentally go in there fresh and excited, because those losing years, I only got to experience one of them. Everybody's miserable, dude. Everybody's miserable. The headspace is like the hardest thing, I think. Was that something you experienced, I assume, yeah?
Of course, man. You get to like, halfway through that season, and you just like, man, okay, we're in a good spot. We got a lead in the fourth quarter, and he's like, man, something's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And then that same year we were on 16. I think we had to end in Green Bay on like the last game. He's like, oh shoot, if we don't make it to Green Bay with a win, it just ain't gonna happen.
Well, we appreciate the hell out of you performing whenever it was not easy. Like I think obviously you're a Madden rating to a lot of people, right? Like, oh, Calvin Johnson comes in, but every single day the grind of showing up at a place where there is not a lot of optimism. I want to let you know there's obviously much more difficult jobs out there, and you'd be an absolute idiot to compare it to anything else. But in our world, showing up every day with like a drive and an intention to be great whenever it is not necessarily surrounding you is very difficult. So thank you for doing that, Calvin. Go ahead, Diggs.
Calvin, how open were you when Dan Orlovsky ran out of the back of the end zone?
Oh man, I was coming out of my comeback. He didn't trust it. He didn't trust the play. You gotta let that ball go when you still see my numbers. When you still see the back of my numbers, it's a 20-yard comeback. You gotta let it go. The funny thing is, I come out of that route, and I didn't know what happened till like the defense was back on the field. I'm just looking around like, what the heck just happened? I see Jared Allen over there clowning. Yeah. Oh man, that was hilarious.
I think the next play, though, right? The next play, yeah, poor Dan, obviously. Dan's a good guy. All right, I've been teammates with Dan. Dan has dug himself into plenty of holes, including of running out of the back of the end zone. But I think the next play, they might have threw a deep ball to
97-yarder, right?
Yeah, to you. I think like the next play was a deep ball to you or whatever. Now, hey, here's our Lions diehard. Foxy, go ahead.
Calvin, first and foremost, thank you for everything you've done for Detroit. I got to ask you, though, you said the Lions wouldn't release your rights, and I was just curious, did you have a team in mind that you wanted to go to, or were you just trying to get the hell out of Detroit?
So before we answer this question, last time I answered a question like this, people was like, oh, he wasn't going to retire. He was going to go to another team. No, I was going to retire, but it was just explore. Just to, my agent was just throw out there fillers just to see what was. And then in particular, that question was just like just a fun thing. Like, where would you want to go play? And I said Green Bay, of course. Play with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Like, shit.
Yeah.
Is that story about Aaron trying to recruit you to the Packers true?
Oh man, I tell you numerous times. Aaron got to tell you if he ever ran the ball over the sideline, I always stood on the sideline. If he saw me, he would just be over there like, come on over here. I wish I could, but the way this thing works,
Yeah, business is a little tough. I just can't.
This ain't basketball.
Hey, it's almost kind of. We'll close on this. Because you are a businessman, and I think your website crashed, by the way, primitivegroup.com, I believe. It has crashed. No, I don't know. It was It just got. We're trying to obviously come in and support the cause. Obviously, he was down there for a little bit. It's great to be back. Let's go ahead and move. Hey, let's go ahead and make some moves.
Yeah,
let's make some moves here. Premium goods, by the way. That's what we're looking for. Just some good vitamins out there. With the state of business in the NFL right now, the salary cap basically means nothing. I mean, they just signed a $110 billion deal or something like that. That's only going to go up. How do you feel about maybe the shorter contracts that are going to happen, maybe a little bit more NBA-like guaranteed money, maybe some moves? How do you feel? Now, I'm not saying that's definitely what the NFL is going to become because the NFL has a lot more control, but how do you feel about the potential of players bouncing around a little bit more than they had in the past?
I think that it will make it very interesting. It will limit probably like the dynasties, like the Patriots, like what they're doing. Or, honestly, you can get guys that might not want to leave because they create a dynasty. And they might want to be on that winning team, like you see with the Patriots this year, where they got all their starters back. So I think it'll be interesting. Honestly, I do. I mean, people didn't like it in the NBA, guys, creating the super teams, but it wouldn't be fair if there's a super team in the NFL. Like you have like
Calvin Johnson.
Yeah.
I think about my draft class. You have all our draft class on one team. Like it's ridiculous. Adrian Peterson, Gaines Adams, rest in peace. We had some ballers in our class.
Well, you're representing that class, first ballot Hall of Famer. Good luck this weekend. What are we going to hear from the speech? Are you going long, or is there a lot of rules?
Yeah, there's a lot of rules. You know, they want us at 6 minutes. They say they're cutting us off at 8. So I'm like, dang, it's been hard to get my speech down to 8 minutes, really. And I'm not a long-winded person, so I think they're going to start the music on us like the Apollo, or have somebody. David Baker's going to be chasing us around the stage at 8 minutes. So.
Hey, he's a big guy now. I think you can hit him with maybe a couple, but if he gets his hands on you, you're fucked.
I just got to juke him. I just can't let him touch me. That's all. You can't let the bear touch you.
We can't wait to watch. Congrats, you deserve it. We're going to continue to support Primitive and everything else you do because you're a good dude. Thanks for your contributions to the game, and congrats on the Hall of Fame, ladies and gentlemen. Calvin Johnson.
Appreciate it. Great to see you, and all the rest of you. Great to see you guys, man. Good to talk to you.
Hey, thank you, Calvin. You're the man. Good luck this weekend. You'll do great. You're going to do great. All right, let's get to a break. I think we have to.
Yeah.
No, we already
did.
Oh, yeah, we did. That's right.
Let's not get to a break. I shouldn't have rushed him off. Fuck. Nah, it was the right time. It was the right time.
Good combo.
He's got to get his speech down. You know, he's got a few other things to check off.
Hey, he was just a different animal. Huh? I mean, that double coverage is hysterical.
Good luck. I mean, even with that, there's no guarantee, especially when he's on the one going in. Like, still, he's going to give you a little head fake inside and throw it up to the corner. Who's going to jump up and snatch that thing other than him?
He's been doing that forever, too, you know? Like, Randy, obviously, when somebody gets mossed, it's called mossed for a reason because Randy brought – Calvin was one of the – Matthew, I think, would just literally just throw it up. Then Calvin was like, all right, there's 4 people, 5 people. It does not matter. I'm going to go get this thing, which is what Aaron was referring to about Julio last year right before the trade. He was like, you know, there's guys out there like Julio that you can just kind of throw wherever, and they're going to catch it. And then there's other guys that are a little bit different. I assume that's why he was doing the recruiting at Calvin. Hey, come on. Hey, Calvin, if you come over here, I mean, I just got to throw it to a fucking area. I'm pretty good. You know what I mean?